So some pretty good teams. And let's start off with Modem Jack Kiefer versus Rob Pisano.
We have an East Coast team here on the right.
Looks to be playing Rob Pisano. 5-color humans here. Going to lead us off with a Noble Hierarch versus Burn, I believe, from Jack Kiefer.
And, you know, Rob Pisano, one of the things that he really has going for him in this matchup is that Jack Kiefer is used to playing against opponents who are dealing themselves quite a bit of damage. And Rob Pisano, playing this humans deck, he is not dealing himself damage at all. So, unless, of course, he, you know, draws the one of Dark Confidant that's in his main deck.
Sure. Searing Blaze is going to deal with that Noble Hierarch.
That's just a ideal card there for Jack Kiefer. Exactly what he wants in a matchup like this.
I mean, how do you feel this? It's kind of like a one-for-one situation here, right? Humans being played out, Kiefer dealing with them. Instead of going to the face, by the way, I might add.
Yeah, so that, see, this is the thing, is that Kiefer really has to use his burn spells on Pisano's face if he wants to eventually win. So he needs to just kind of go upstairs blindly. The beauty of a card like Searing Blaze is that it both kills the creature and goes to the face. So in a lot of ways, that's the card that Rob Pisano is most worried about, and I would not be surprised if this Meddling Mage was actually naming Searing Blaze.
I love the classic Meddling Mage Chris Bakula art here.
Yes.
A bunch of people cosplaying as Meddling Mage here at the event this weekend, by the way. Professor.
As Chris?
Yeah, as the card. Not necessarily as Chris Bakula today. And like a hoodie with a metal t-shirt on. But Professor tweeted out a photo of them. It's kind of cool. You can check it out. Thalia's Lieutenant here from Rob Pisano.
And it looks like Searing
Goblin
Blaze may have been the named card there because Jack chose to aim a Lightning Helix at that Meddling Mage, which is...
Both of these teams currently 4-1, by the way.
So either of these teams winning, they would not have yet secured their spot in the second day of competition here. They would still need to win another round on top of that.
Reflector Mage here is going to bounce that Goblin Guide back to Kiefer's hand and give Thalia's Lieutenant another counter. And both creatures going to swing in here. Ether Vial, the follow-up play from Pisano.
And after that, that Kiefer no longer able to play the Goblin Guide in his hand now on this turn.
Yeah, Jack Kiefer still at 19. Pisano down to 9, a dangerous place for anybody versus Burn. Just going to draw a card there off that Horizon Canopy. Normally the humans deck, the one that wants to get in the beats early.
It's two aggressive decks trading punches.
Meddling Mage.
Another Meddling Mage. I wonder if he'll name Searing Blaze. A dangerous place to be for him. Well, it's funny. I mean, there are a lot of cards he could name that could just win him the game, but it's a guessing game.
It really is. What do you even say? I mean, do you even leave a card like Meddling Mage in after sideboarding? It's just going to die.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess so is everything else.
Yeah, I think post-board you really want things like Sin Collector. That's a really, really nice one.
All right, Thalia's Lieutenant getting another counter there off of the Meddling Mage. One counter on that Ether Vial.
So Rob able to attack for 6 here if he wants to. 4 seems to be the number he's comfortable with. But already down to 6 here.
Oh boy.
Like any 2 cards resolved from Jack Kiefer are essentially good enough to end this game.
Passes the turn back. Another counter on that Ether Vial, draws for turn. All right, let's see what we're putting into play here.
So Rob, he could maybe put a Phantasmal Image into play, copy the Thalia's Lieutenant, or put Thalia's Lieutenant into play. Would that be enough to win? Because he really kind of needs to win this turn. Oh, well, that
Thalia
could change things a little bit.
Going to make Kiefer's burn spells cost 1 more. Kind of doing some math here in his head. Deciding what to swing with, and he decides, you know what? Ship them all in.
I'm actually quite surprised here that Kiefer didn't respond to the Thalia Guardian of Throbbing with something like a
You'd have that Boros Charm in
Skullcrack
hand.
or a Boros Charm. Because now he's here, he has a Lightning Bolt in his hand, but he can't win because of that Thalia.
Yeah, and Kiefer's now down to 6.
Yeah. So Kiefer, it seems that he underestimated the power of this Thalia. He could have even just bolted after the Thalia resolved on Pisano's end step, and then on his turn played that 3rd land and finished off the game. But instead, Pisano there able to steal a game from the clutches of defeat.
Pisano currently up a game over Kiefer, the only win for the team yet here in the early stages.
And we can expect that match to probably go the fastest of all 3.
Yes. All right, let's check in on Legacy Tomajko-Kiefer-Kassis there on the left side of your screen versus Ben Friedman. See if we can get some kind of idea of what the players are working with.
So Ben Friedman, it looks like he is playing 4-color Control, which many in the Legacy community lovingly refer to as Check Pile.
And why is that?
Because it's a pile of really good cards that were put together in the Czech Republic.
Okay, sure, I'll take it.
Yeah, why not?
Taking a peek at what Tomajko-Kiefer-Kassis is running here. What do you see?
So it seems that Ely is running Grixis Delver. And this matchup traditionally will favor Ben Friedman.
Certainly looks like Friedman has done quite a bit more. Although we're not seeing a lot of it thanks to that Gurmag Angler from Kassis. A lot of Legacy games can have the potential to end fairly quickly. But you mentioned early on today that, not all the time. Sometimes they are very long, drawn-out matches. Here's a Leovold from Friedman. And it's good. Gurmag Angler casually hitting the red zone there from Kassis.
And we mentioned earlier that Gurmag Anglers, one of the reasons why it's seen play in Legacy now is because there are so few cards that actually kill it. And Ben Friedman, his deck actually does have ways to deal with that Angler. Unfortunately for him, one of those ways is Diabolic Edict, which matches up very poorly against a card like Young Pyromancer, which Ely is playing here. However, Baleful Strix, I think, is still a very powerful option here for Ben.
Yeah, sometimes it's a little surprising that a little 1/1 flyer can get the job done. Helps having Death Touch and drawing a card when it ETBs.
Oh yeah, I mean such a great card. Have you used it with Recurring Nightmare yet?
You know what? I don't know if I have.
It's very, very fun.
Seems like a good one.
That's right, guys. Magic Online, a place where you can use Recurring Nightmare with Baleful Strix all the time.
Have you just been having a lot of fun with this Vintage Cube?
I've been loving Vintage Cube so much. That's why I keep referencing it, because it's like a holiday. I know it's called the Holiday Cube, but I feel like it's a holiday.
Why it's called?
It's like a month-long holiday for me. I get so excited about it.
What do you think about a Cube Pro Tour?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think it's really like competitive. It's really fun. I would enjoy it.
Cube GP. How about that?
The logistics of it are heinous, but it would be incredible and very fun.
All right, Tomajko-Kiefer-Kassis throwing his creatures into combat versus that Leovold on Friedman's side. Snapcaster Mage here from Friedman.
Now, something interesting that Ben Friedman did is Ben Friedman chose to fight this fight on Ely's turn, even though this would allow Ely to have mana untapped. In doing so, he's preventing Ely from creating additional tokens that could attack on this particular turn if his interaction happens to be cards like Daze and or Force of Will.
Yeah, I think I can see 2 Force of Wills in Kassis' hand. See a Lightning Bolt from Kassis on Leovold. Gonna make an elemental token here. Currently represented by a couple of Brainiacs from Unstable. Have you played much Unstable, by the way?
I did 1 draft. It was very fun. I beat both Ben Seck and Marshall Sutcliffe, and as a result, they think the format's terrible. But I beat them. It was all skill. They were very upset about it. I made them discard their whole hands by blinking a bunch of rats with many ponies.
Excellent.
And then I held my head on the table while I blinked a Skull Saucer and killed everybody.
Brilliant.
It's the best.
Ely Kassis and his Brainiac tokens able to do it that game, picking up game 1 versus Ben Friedman. Heading back over to Modern here with Rob Pisano versus Jack Kiefer. 5-color Humans versus Burn. Kitesail Freebooter, arguably one of the reasons that Humans is able to be a deck at all here, holding a Lightning Helix currently. Either Vial in play, also pretty critical for the Humans deck. But Burn has got some permanents in play too, some creatures. Eidolon of the Great Revel is going to do some work versus Rob Pisano and a Monastery Swift Spear. Thalia's Lieutenant here is the play, and then we're going to activate this Vial and put another one into play as well.
Yeah, so here, a nice play here from Rob Pisano. What he is doing is he is, with the trigger from the Thalia's Lieutenant on the stack that puts a +1/+1 counter onto all humans you control,
yeah,
he's using the Vial to put another Thalia's Lieutenant into play, thus getting the trigger from the Thalia's Lieutenant on the one that entered the battlefield from the Vial, and then he gets a trigger on the first Thalia's Lieutenant to give an additional +1/+1 counter.
Wow.
So if you like cool and interesting plays out of sweet aggro decks, that was awesome.
Keep that in mind, 5-color Humans players. All right, the Freebooter getting in there. Now up to a critical 4 toughness as well.
And 4 toughness on that Freebooter essentially means that Lightning Helix is gone forever.
Unless Kiefer wants to waste a number of spells on it. That can't feel good.
Definitely not. Now, one thing that is really nice for Rob Pisano in this situation is that they're in a race where Rob Pisano suddenly has board advantage, and Jack Kiefer is, under his own pyrostatic lock because of the Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Wow. Comes at a cost.
It does. Eidolon of the Great Revel, just one of the very best cards that Burn has gotten over the last few years.
Christian Calcano, update from our standard table, currently up a game over Oliver Tomajko, who was on the U.S. Nationals team. Just competed at the World Magic Cup. Did very well.
Yeah. His opponent, Christian Calcano, competed at the World Championship.
Yes. Lots of world competitors here in our feature match area.
Yeah, this is quite the feature match we have underway right
now. Calcano actually sat behind me on the plane on the way over.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, this is going to be so cool.
What's going to happen?
Oh, so we're going to see Reflector Mage get flashed in by the Vial. Oh, I wanted him to do it mid-combat. To do, like, really gross things.
So now it's just good, but not necessarily as cool.
Yeah.
In comes Reflector Mage. Another Thalia's Lieutenant for Rob Pisano.
That's got to be
wow.
lethal, I imagine, unless... Yeah, that's going to kill.
Swinging for the fences. Some people, notably Jack Kiefer.
Jack Kiefer, probably the person who's going to die in this situation. I think he's going to go to 1 here, actually. So he's not dead. He's just mostly dead.
Not dead yet.
Although, with Rob Pisano at 7, a Burrow's Charm plus any 3 damage burn spell would have been good enough.
But there comes a handshake. Rob Pisano able to steal Game 1 from Jack Kiefer and win there in pretty conclusive fashion for Game 2, taking the match, meaning putting his team up 1.
Yeah.
But it's even Stevens versus in Calcano's court as well as Kassis' court. Let's check back in on Legacy to see where we are. Kassis versus Friedman. The Thoughtseize taking care of a Deathrite Shaman.
A very important card here in these matchups. Any of these one-mana creatures are really what Friedman needs to worry about. I think Young Pyromancer is Ely's best card in this matchup. He really wants to cast that Young Pyromancer with other things in hand, ready to go. That way he can, if Ben is going to kill the Young Pyromancer, he can either counter that removal spell and create tokens, or just play, various card draw spells in response to create tokens, thus netting himself some level of advantage there.
Delver here for Kassis. Ponder for Friedman. It's going to shuffle it away.
I saw Ben Friedman play a league with Boggles.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
On stream?
On stream.
How'd he do?
He went 3-2.
Nice. Legacy Boggles or Modern?
Modern.
I gotta say, Legacy Boggles is a deck. I'm not gonna say it's a great deck, but I did have a winning record with it.
That's awesome. It's impressive.
My opponents actually liked that I was playing it because they were like, oh, it's interesting to see something different.
Yeah, I like it too.
Built by Cube April of Twitter fame, the anti-Mark Rosewater, some would say. Insectile Aberration transformed here for Kassis. Young Pyromancer, there you said it, one of the key cards in Kassis' deck. Able to stick it due to a tapped out Friedman. And nothing in hand.
Yeah, now Friedman with just 1 land still.
He does have access to cards like Fatal Push. He's going to try it out here. And it's good. Takes down the Delver / Insectile Aberration. Brainstorm from Kassis. 1 mana is the name of the game here in Legacy is kind of what I've learned over the past few weeks.
Yeah. If things cost 2 mana, that's a lot different than 1. And something that's interesting about Ben's deck here is that, Ben is playing one of the few decks that really wants to hit land drops 1 through 4. When you're playing Legacy, most decks can function properly only hitting 2 or 3 land drops, whereas Ben's deck, hitting those first 4 is pretty important. You can miss the 4th one for a turn or 2, and it's not the end of the world, but you eventually want that. In this game, him being unable to find a second land, it means that he's unable to play the key cards in this matchup, which is favorable for him. He can't play things like Hymn to Turok. He can't play things like Abrupt Decay. And we see in his hand, there's a Hymn to Turok. There's a Diabolic Edict, an Abrupt Decay, a Baleful Strix, Snapcaster Mage. He's got so many juicy cards.
Can't do a thing with them, unfortunately. Yeah, I haven't seen a Hymn to Turok resolved yet this weekend, and I'm keen on it.
Oh, it's the best.
Please discard randomly.
Yeah. And he even has the Hymn to Turok with the best art, the one with the dog. The Cloud Dog? Yeah.
The Cloud Dog.
Cloud Dog.
You know, that makes sense. They're singing his hymn. Yeah, Cassis just running away with this one. There is a Gurmag angler. This young pyromancer has made 3 elementos so far.
So, interesting here. Ben Friedman, I guess because he has 1 land, he really kind of is out of ways to win. But I was going to say, if he had 2 lands, it's possible that Toxic Deluge could have been good enough.
Sure.
He does have access to that post board.
Yep, Cassis is able to deal with anything there with a Pierce. Takes down that match 2-0 over Ben Friedman. That leaves it up to our standard players to decide the outcome of this match. Christian Calcano versus Oliver Tomajko. Christian Calcano currently up a game. We'll see if Tomajko can fight his way back into things, playing Raminap Red versus Teamer Energy here from Calcano. Classic matchup in standard that we've seen over the past few months. Which side do you favor? I mean, obviously right now Calcano's got a lot of permanents in play.
I'm going to lean toward Calcano having a pretty strong advantage in the matchup. Not strong, but he definitely has
just base level,
matchup.
Not having anything to do with the current game state.
Yeah, nothing to do with the current... Because, let's be real, in the current game state, Calcano is in a somewhat dominant position.
Yes, that's accurate, I think.
He has, there is a mother long tusk somewhere who is very upset about her 3 children playing hooky. And Calcano's having a blast because they are adorable. And they want to win this game for him.
It won't be small forever, certainly. Flavor text on Long Tusk Cub. Tomajko sort of weighing his options here as he looks through his hand, trying to think if there's any way he can get himself back into this game, considering Chandra here. Calcano at 9 life, Tomajko on 13. Both teams, by the way, currently 4-1. The winner will advance 5-1. Feeling pretty good going into the final 2 rounds. Only 1 more loss to give, though, notably. And there is the handshake. Christian Calcano able to Chandra's defeat his way to victory over Oliver Tomajko. The team of Calcano-Pisano and Friedman advances to 5-1 here in round 6. Tomajko-Kiefer-Kassis pick up their 2nd loss, dropping to 4-2. Some really good stuff we've seen here in the booth JVL so far today. Moving ahead, Marshall Sutcliffe and Eduardo Sajgalik will be back in the booth to guide you through The Cut, the final show that we're seeing here today, and kind of the new way we're formatting our shows at Grand Prix tournaments this year, to kind of walk you through as we see some of the players on the verge of either making it into day 2 or potentially getting cut, hence the name of the show. See, it all works out. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow for all the players back in day 2, 2 losses or better, to join you with, what did we call that show? Good Morning Magic.
I'm so excited.
It's going to be great.
To say good morning to you guys.
We're going to talk about the craziest decks that we've seen here this weekend, maybe some that haven't even been in the feature match area. I'm really excited to talk about some of the new and exciting stuff happening in Modern, and I'm sure you'll walk us through some of the cool stuff in Legacy as well.
I can't wait. And I can't wait to just have a cup of coffee with you guys, sit around in more casual clothes, have a nice morning Magic with you guys.
All right, so Marshall and Eduardo will be back here in a second for more Magic. Round 7 and 8 coming at you after these messages.